Star Trek. Strange New Worlds retcons Kirk and Pike's TOS relationship. Star Trek. Strange New Worlds has never shied away from daring storytelling, but its latest season has taken a bold step that has left fans buzzing. A subtle yet significant retcon of the iconic relationship between Captain Christopher Pike and James T. Kirk. For decades, fans of the original series, TOS, have embraced the narrative of Kirk stepping into the Enterprise captaincy under Pike's guidance, often seeing their interactions as strictly professional, marked by respect, mentorship, and the occasional friendly ribbing. Strange New Worlds, however, adds layers to their dynamic that not only enrich the prequel era, but also challenge the assumptions held by longtime Trekkies. In TOS, Pike is largely a background figure in Kirk's story. We know from episodic flashbacks and mentions in The Menagerie that he was a stern, principled captain whose tenure at the Enterprise left an indelible mark on Kirk. Yet the series never fleshed out the emotional or interpersonal depth between the two men. Strange New Worlds seizes that untapped space, exploring the nuanced interplay of admiration, rivalry, and moral influence that Pike exerts on Kirk long before he officially commands the Enterprise. The most striking retcon comes in the portrayal of Kirk as a young officer aboard the Enterprise, not merely an ambitious starship prodigy, but someone visibly shaped by Pike's personal leadership style. Episodes in the current season reveal that Pike's mentorship involved more than mission briefings and strategic counsel. It was an intricate dance of moral challenges and ethical conversations that subtly pushed Kirk toward the bold, sometimes impulsive decisions that would define his future captaincy. The show presents Pike as both a stabilizing force and an indirect provocateur, shaping Kirk's temperament in ways TOS never fully suggested. This shift doesn't merely add dramatic tension, it recontextualizes how fans perceive Kirk's trajectory. In TOS, Kirk's courage and occasional brashness often feel innate, a product of his charismatic leadership and daring instinct. Strange New Worlds implies that these traits were cultivated deliberately, honed under Pike's careful observation and sometimes tough love. For instance, in a standout episode from the current arc, Kirk faces a moral quandary that tests both loyalty and protocol. Pike's subtle guidance, not overt commands, forces Kirk to navigate the situation using judgment rather than orders. It's a quiet, almost invisible moment that signals a deeper mentor-protege relationship than TOS ever hinted at. Equally important is how this retcon reframes Pike himself. Traditionally seen as a nearly flawless captain, Pike in Strange New Worlds is portrayed with more human nuance. His mentorship comes with mistakes, hesitations, and moments of vulnerability, elements that make the pre-Kirk era feel grounded and relatable. By presenting Pike as fallible, yet steadfast in his principles, the show bridges the idealized Pike of TOS with a character viewers can emotionally invest in. This humanization also adds weight to the later tragedy of Pike's fate, as viewers now witness firsthand the emotional and philosophical stakes of his guidance. While some purists might argue that these adjustments disrupt canonical continuity, the creative decision ultimately strengthens the Star Trek universe. Retcons, when handled thoughtfully, offer opportunities to explore character relationships with more depth and realism. Strange New Worlds balances reverence for TOS with the freedom to expand, showing that canon is not a rigid script but a living, evolving story. Kirk and Pike's relationship, once a simple mentor-mentee outline, becomes a dynamic interplay of trust, challenge, and mutual respect, laying a richer foundation for the legend that TOS celebrates. The response from fans has been mixed but largely intrigued. Social media discussions highlight debates over whether these new interpretations enhance or undermine the original series. Many argue that seeing Pike actively shape Kirk's moral compass adds emotional resonance, transforming what was once a functional relationship into a layered narrative of growth, accountability, and interpersonal influence. The retcon doesn't erase TOS. It complements it, adding a dimension that enriches both the prequel and the legacy series. Ultimately, Strange New Worlds demonstrates that even the most beloved relationships in Star Trek can be revisited with care, creativity, and respect. By retconning Kirk and Pike's TOS relationship, the show delivers a narrative payoff that deepens character motivations, enriches moral complexity, and gives fans a new lens through which to understand the captaincy of the Enterprise. It's a bold move, but one that underscores why Star Trek remains a franchise willing to explore new frontiers, not just in space, but in. Do you want me to do that next?